If you have been wondering about laying out UIs in Bubble, well, this video is going to help you a ton with your responsive layouts and how to basically just frame up a UI like the one you see here in front of you. What we're going to do to get started on this job is I'm just showing off kind of the inner part of a page here, and then we're going to be working on that over in our Bubble editor, and a final result will be this built out over on what is currently a blank page. So what you're going to learn right away as we dive into this is you're just going to learn my thinking as it relates to laying out pages. And if you've looked at any of the other responsive videos that I have, this is going to fall right in line with it, but there's a few more complexities with this one, so I thought it'd be fun to tackle and put into a video here. So buckle up. What we're going to do here, just to get going, is we're going to take a look at this page and think about it in a grid sense. So right away, for what makes natural cuts, if we were to make this a row, we would have a row, it would cut here, and then it would need to cut at the bottom of this. And if you thought about it, then this actually would start at the bottom of that, if that makes sense. Whereas if it's a column, and I know it's a little bit more difficult to describe if I can't, well, I guess I can point with my mouse. So the break going from left to right, there's a very natural break here where these edges line up. So it makes so much sense to say, boom, everything here is one column, and then everything here is one column. So we would have a two-column layout. So I'm going to go with that, but then we can see next here as we look at this, we can break this down. This makes so much sense to make this a row. So all three of these, we have three columns in a row here, and then this is just a row with a repeating group in it. We're not going to get to filling in the repeating group in this video. We'll just put like a coming soon here, but we will get to these other areas is the plan. So buckle up. It will be one of those videos where you can watch a whole UI come to life. So with that being said, let's jump over into our Bubble editor and let's get this framed up. So right now we have a row here, and which is perfect. Rows go from left to right, and columns go from top to bottom. The stuff we're going to have is two columns going column one here, and then column one here. And so let's go ahead and grab a group, drop that in, and we'll just call that G column one. And let's see, why don't we go ahead and get this set up before we duplicate it. So that is going to be a column. If we look back at our, so we're going to have a column going down with 2 rows in it. And then this will be a column with a bunch of stuff in it. Yep, so we'll have 2 columns there. Doesn't need to be fixed with, let's go 600 to have it, get some nice room to work with. And so I'll just copy and paste that, and then we can see here, we actually have over here in the this brand main row, this has a column gap of 20, which if we take a look at our mockup we're following here, it is a width of 20. And now you might be wondering, if you're following something else and you don't have a Figma file here, what you're going to see in this video is you're going to watch me export the things that I need, like for icons and such, out of Figma and then use them over into Bubble. But if you're working off some other mockup, or you're just working off like a JPEG image or something, you might just be in a world where you'll be taking little screenshots of your icons or something just to frame something up, rough it in. Certainly is good enough to get something on the page for an MVP version, just to get something out there. Okay, so then we know in this one, we're going to want to have a row, 2 rows rather. So we'll go ahead and call this G row 1. And then this will be a row within a row. Yep, because we'll have a row of 3 columns on that one. And not fixed width. Sure, we'll put it at like 250 or something to start with. No color. And then this here as well. Then this will be row 2. And this will be row 2, we're just going to call that one RG. So we know it's the repeating group one. Okay, so we've basically got this this framed up pretty good for. Oh, so let's just take a look at our hierarchy here. The outside one, the two columns. This one has these two in it, and so we can already see that it's kind of framing this up nicely. So let's focus on this top left one here, and what I'm going to do for that is, looks like I want to have 1, 2, 3 columns, and they're roughly equal in size. So these will be the last kind of frame up groups that I'll drop in here. So group, and then just like all the other ones. But actually, when we look at these, we can see that they have white for their background. So we can leave that white, and then let's go with a roundness of 8. And so we'll call this column group column 1. And let's see. Now what's inside of this one? So we're definitely living in a world like Inception, row within a row, dream within a dream. We're pretty deep into the weeds here, but so this might be, yeah, this will probably be the last thing we have to do for a decision like this. So this is going to be a column because it has stuff going down it. So let's go back over here then. So we're going to select this one as a column, but let's see, is that true for everything else? Yeah, basically so. So we've kind of gotten things down to their individual elements, which is great. We've started big, we've zoomed in, and this allows us to do some good work here. So let's go and get 3 of these onto the, so let's see, we're going to reduce, yeah, we'll say that these are 250 or something. 1, 2, and okay, so that one copied inside of the other one. So got it. Just always pay attention to your hierarchy on the left-hand side. Make sure you have a good idea of what's going on. And then, so for this one here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say apply a gap between, and let's do a column gap of 20 so we can see that nice gap between each of these. Okay, and so next up, we can see that there is what is essentially a piece of text with a background on it. Now this could be a group with text in it. What I actually have something copied from elsewhere on the app where I'm just going to paste this in, and then we're going to take a look at this. So this is just a text element, and we're going to have it say brand logo. And then let's see about, oh yeah, so I think for each of these, actually this will work out just perfect. So for each of these, I want to give a padding of 10 all the way around. And then I'm going to go ahead and just delete these quick. And then with that text thing in there, this is actually a little bit better because then that can transfer over, because I believe all of these have this heading across the top. So now I've got this nice text thing, and so this text is just something with some 6698 padding. I suppose this could be 9 as well, whatever, for consistency, if that matters to anyone. If anyone is feeling their perfectionist vibes going, you want to get it right, then do that. But the main thing here was the one on the left, because it balances in pretty good. So okay, so we got brand logo, main font file, and my profile. Oh, that's why I was confused by this. I was like, wait a minute, I think the designer used this from somewhere else. These are brand colors. So sometimes it's not always, it's just laid out how someone roughed it in. They're roughing it in. You're roughing in the rough in. Inside of rows, inside of rows, inside of rows. Okay, so we've got this set up here, and that looks pretty good for starters. Let's see, we're gonna get a image here, and then actually I have an idea for something that I want to use here. And that idea can be seen over on a different part of this same app that I used. And I'm just going to, anytime you're doing something where you're not repeating the wheel, or yeah, reinventing the wheel or repeating the wheel, um, you highly encourage you to use anything else from your app that you've already built out that you can just template over. In this case, it would be pretty easy to put a photo upload element here and then, just have it have some text that says upload your thing here. And then when someone uploads it, save it to the database using this button. However, sometimes, and it's perfectly okay to have a rough mock-up that you're going by, and then from that rough mock-up, just wing it a little bit. Just go for what you think would satisfy the requirements here. And so I know as a person involved in this dashboard that this is basically a place for brands to come in and put their information, and then just like in any type of platform where brands have media and things being created for them, it's important that like the right logos and brand guides and colors are used for them, along with other information related to that brand, right? So I know, and I'm just I know that something like this is actually, so I had previously built this as part of another part of this dashboard for managing media stuff, that I'm going to use something pretty similar here, where it can also be downloaded as well as uploaded. So what I'm going to do is take this same setup, and that way I can still have this nice selector UI that I had previously built. And so let me head over to where that exists in this particular app. Okay, great. So this whole thing is going to be a UI that's a little bit bigger than I think I want, but let's see what we can do. Let's see what type of things are happening here when. So let's see if there's some workflows tied to this. We'll definitely want to pay attention to that. So we have a state that's selected on this RG logos, and so this is some of these selection things. I'm reusing this UI. Again, for the purposes of this video, you could just put a photo uploader here, use this button to upload things, but I'm completely winging it here because I would just prefer something a little bit more sophisticated to interact with, so that it can involve more than just the one thing here that the designer is suggesting, but that myself as a person involved in the project knows that it's going to be better if we just reuse something that has already been previously built. So always feel free to make whatever you believe is the best call to make in a given moment. Great advice there, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure, so this RG logos, I'm going to make sure that in the world that I am in here, this RG logos, okay, so that would be part of this thing that's copied over, because basically when you're going to copy over an element and you want all the stuff to work for the UI, you want to make sure you do copy with workflows. I know a lot of people know this, but sometimes if this is your first time seeing this, you might be amazed. You're like, oh my gosh, I can reuse my UI elements. And if UI elements are set up correctly, meaning like, for example, I know that some places encourage putting all of the state variables on the pages themselves for easy location of where they are or whatever. But I think it's kind of nice if you build the state variables within the areas of the functioning UI, because then if you copy and paste them over to other places, then it's available to you. So let's go ahead and let's just see how this looks. So we'll go ahead, paste special, paste with workflows, and looks amazing. So let's see. I think we want this one here. And yeah, so okay, so what we have going on is this thing has a layout of fixed width. We're just going to knock that down a little bit, and then we'll see how that goes. This has a scrolling thing that gets removed through some CSS, but I actually want a scroll bar in my case and scenario here. And then let's see. So we're working in row 1. we've got this unnamed column 2, and this is column 3, and then this is, we want to name this G column 1. Okay. And so now we're kind of getting cleaned up. And if we look back here, do we have any way to get some extra room around this or not? Let's see. Yeah, we don't need these inputs to be as wide as they are. So we could actually cut that down and we could give some more space here and to this table. So I think I'm gonna go with that based upon my desire to have this extra table be here. But so let's see. So then what I want to do is I want to come over here and I'm going to say that this has a max width of 40%. And that gives a little bit more breathing room over here, except for this one. So let's see what's shaking in minimum width. So let's see. Fit width to content. Fit width to content. What content is it fitting to? Okay, and okay, that's the one we're looking for. Great. All right, so one of the things that I want to do here is I'm going to have to, let's see, what I'm going to do. So I'm going to copy the formatting on this. I'm going to paste the formatting over here so we can see that we're kind of sharing this similar style. And then it looks like so let's check and see why this might be so much taller. Okay, it's this. And then we can allow this to expand out. And then now we're kind of looking like we had something like we did before, except on this one, we want to add that 10 padding around it. So solving layout problems here in the video today. And it looks like we'll have this nice logo variations thing. Let's see on the right-hand side of this, what's happening here. I would like this to be extending out all the way. So it's this. Got it. All right, cool. So let's check on the height of this here. This appears to be 10 above and below. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set these as a min height of, that appears to be 35. You can see on this red thing here to the right of this. So we'll say 35. If you don't see that, make sure that you actually have the show distances on hovers. That's super helpful. So then we'll just make all of these match, even though that these don't necessarily need to be this tall for the sake of this thing. But since we've got this in here, we're winging it. That's what we're doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see this logo. It's going to do a search for a bunch of different logo variations of a parent group's brand. So let's see. I do know that on this page, this is for a user's profile. So we are just going to go actually and grab a current user's, for now anyways, we'll just go first items, logo variations. And then we will just leave that as is. So there's always a little bit of data cleanup when you're transferring something over, but let's go and let's just take a preview at this. See if we have anything. Okay, yeah, we do. So great. So this actually extends all the way over. So it means there was something in here that went a little bit too far. And So we'll have to take a look back over on this thing. I believe we actually had, yeah, we had this min width on this. Okay, and so I believe it's going to be this thing, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this as a fixed width element, and then we're going to refresh this. And we can see here that a scroll bar will show up, letting someone know that there are multiple things, and so they can select something, and then we copied over to the workflows. So let's see if we were able to download it. We weren't. Oh, because it's actually the workflow must use some chain of logic or chain of data to go and find the thing that that we broke. So we'll want to check that out as part of just this cleanup here. However, since that is not part of this video, I'm just going to pause it and then clean that up and then move on. Okay, yep, and so that is cleaned up nice, and we can see that if we get this, we can go and grab that file, which is part of the purpose of this area is for someone to come and interact with their files, grab the files, upload files, do things with files. Now let's also fulfill, but the data side is less important for this video because it's all about UIs, right? So let's go and check out what's next here. We have this upload logo button, which I happen to have here handily ready to paste in. And this is simply, let's just take a look at this. It's just a group with a flag color, roundness 5. And then it's a group because we have icons on it. It's not a button. And then this icon, if you're ever in working over in Figma, and if you're not super familiar with it, you can always go to the item that you want, export it, and definitely do it as an SVG, because then it will look very, very nice at all screen sizes and resolutions. So looks like we may want to move that down, and let's see if that has a 205 on it. We'll do a 205 here as well. And center it. And then just update that text to say update logo. All right, so then we're going to need a workflow for this. And that workflow is going to involve a little bit of data. So we're not going to worry about that for now. We'll do that at the end. We'll do the same here with fonts. So for the fonts, I do notice that over on this one, there was this nice fonts thing, which had a repeating group in it, and it enabled someone to download their fonts as well as upload. I'd like to give that functionality in addition to what the designer had originally set up here. So I'm going to go and, like, once again, do something that's a little bit let's see, so we'll say copy with workflows, paste with workflows. Actually let's see. And let's see if we paste it inside of here, if it's going to look terrible or not. So let's just make that really small. And then, nope, what I'm going to do is paste it here. And then once again, just work on what it is exactly that is causing this issue. So it's definitely this repeating group. We went down to 205 on that other one, but I believe it's something fit to content. That's what it was. Okay, so cool. We can grab this and replace that out. Get our padding of 10 here. And then maybe drop at below that these fonts. Okay, so I believe this is being run by this thing here for a minimum. Let's just go and preview this, see what it looks like. Okay, and so this is probably going to need, yep, the same. So brands font. So we're going to look for this brands font and see how that looks. Yep, okay, great. So probably need that same update for the downloads. Nope, it looks like that that one works just fine. Must be referencing the repeating group. And it looks like we can make this a little bit, so this must have something around it that's, and indeed it does. So I think this is a bit of an extra special video in that we are working off this as a rough design, but again, I'm also piecemealing some of these reusable elements on the, or I'm making them reusable rather, some of these elements that I would like to see involved in this page as well. Just making the decision to make things very user-friendly. So it looks like we could use a 10 on the bottom of that as well. Brand colors, we'll go with that as well. Cool, so we got this upload logo, and then we'll add in this upload font. And we'll make this one work later. Cool. And let's see. I think I would like to make these. So this has a minimum height. This says 293. So let's say 295. And this is a column, and I'm going to stretch it out like this. Same thing for this one, seems to make sense to do it like that. And then we'll say that this one is 295 as well. And then that way we'll just, have this nice consistency all across this world. So I think we're doing pretty good for getting this roughed in. And we can see that there is something that is keeping this a little extra wider than it perhaps needs to be. And I would say the same for this one. So let's just tweak that. Let's take a look from all the way in our hierarchy of this. We can see what we're working with here. This group heading. So there's a repeating group here. What does it have? Got it. So this thing has some margins. Great. Because we already put the padding around on these parts, which means that yeah, we're basically working with cool, yeah. And let's see, I like it for this one in particular that it would show a little bit of the next thing, but this one, it does not need to be so wide. So I'm gonna check in on this, and I'm gonna maybe drop this down and see what exactly is it that is the forcing function for this to be keeping it so wide. So we got this group font. So usually, yep, so if we get all the way down to here, we can see Okay, it's probably this. Nope, so I think it's that plus this as a minimum width, plus some margins and such. Got it. Okay, and it actually turns out that it's his button. That's the culprit. Cool. So always good to just that even if we're doing this live and you are amazing for jumping in and hanging with at this point in the UI layout. UI layout can be tedious, and I think this is one of the learning takeaways from a module like this. And so you can prep yourself. Okay, so that didn't change anything, probably because this. Yep. So let's see if we can get this down to 170. But just to prep yourself when you're going into designing UI of like, yep, okay, yep, I'm doing things that have the potential to take more time than I perhaps think. So font files, so these two, okay. I'm gonna call that good there, and not gonna mess with it any more than that. Because let's see, in all honesty, this is mainly being designed for a dashboard or a desktop dashboard than mobile in this video. So okay, so let's see, brand colors, that's next. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. We've got a couple text, some inputs, and then so this input would probably be a group with an input inside of it, and then another group that is color and shaded as someone selects their hex color. So let's see how we could knock that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this one, take away this, and take away, I guess, a couple things. The margin below it, and then the background color. And it probably doesn't need all of this padding around it, but yeah, especially the top. So let's see what we're looking at here. We're looking at primary color hex. So we'll just copy that. And then we're going to have a group below that. So let's think, is there anything we want to reuse from a group? No, we'll just start it. We'll start one from scratch. Start from scratch right there. Okay, let's see. We are dealing with column 3. We're working on this text. So we want this group in the hierarchy here on our left tree to fall under there. And then it's given to us in this really, really lovely fixed width, which we don't want, or this minimum. Cool. Now we're starting to get somewhere. All right, so we're dealing with a group that has a couple things in it. It's a row. It's going to have another group in it. It's going to have, I think, the input. The hex color will stay the same, so we'll just have to work and find a way to keep that there next to the input, so it just looks, from a visual standpoint, it all looks like it's just exactly one thing. So let's go ahead and just put this group inside this group. So this is going to be group color 1. And this will be color patch. What we're going to do with this one is we're just going to define it with maybe a, oh, I don't know, 28 by 28. making it fixed width, making it do all of these types of things, and bring it in maybe, let's see if we look at this, got it. So we actually have what I'd like to do on this then, I would like to give it maybe like a 3 or 4. So top and bottom and then left. And then I'm going to remove that and just allow it to fit around this. And I'm just going to give it the color for now. And then also give it a roundness of, let's say, 8. And then give this one a roundness of 8. And apparently a border. But something, let's see, something lighter-ish. Oh yeah, I suppose I could go in here. I can see this border. Yep, brilliant. And this is why it's great to just have somebody else making these decisions for you ahead of time, if possible. That's not always the case, but you can see how that's effective. All right, so that's way too big. Probably more like 20 by 20. And then let's think about how we're going to do this. We're going to get an input in here. And we're going to go ahead and copy the formatting on that one. Well, let's try to do that more for the, less for the formatting, more for the text itself. Just trying to get that to look like it. But, so we're looking at a 10 with this color, 600. Lovely. Oh, okay, that's what it is. So this did copy over like I wanted it to, just that placeholder text typically has a different color. There we go. And then we're going to remove borders. And then so now here's where we're gonna get fancy. Let's see. We are going to auto bind this on. So let's say our parent element here. We want that to be current users. No, we want it to be a brand. And for the sake of this, we're just going to go with this first item's brand. Parent groups. And then that way we can auto bind to that thing. And if you're not familiar with auto binding, this is a great time to know a little bit about it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look on we're just going to say when this current user is logged in for now, we'll allow auto binding on primary color code, secondary color code, tertiary color code. Cool. So if you're not familiar with auto binding, you just set up a rule where something exists, and then you select the fields that you want to have that used for. So great. So someone could come in here and type it to update it. So let's work on this design a little bit as well. Then so our placeholder is going to be the parent group's hand. Let's see, primary color code. And the field to modify is this primary color code. If somebody updates it. So let's take a look at our progress and see if we actually have something in there. There might not be. Okay, so there is. Great, and it actually has that hex color as well. Or that hex with it, which is fine. So we'll want to clearly do a little bit of styling here where when it's it's focus. We don't want that. We don't want that either. From the layout, so I think from the margin left, we'll say 10. We'll make this thing just allow it to stretch all the way out to the end. I think 10 might be a bit much. Okay, so now it feels like that's the actual thing. And then next up, what we can do is for this value here, we'll actually take this one and it'll be a flat color. We'll insert dynamic data and we'll say that it is, what is this? This is input color hex 1. And we'll see what we get. Yeah, so it's whatever color this is. And we can always just verify that by, I don't know, go into one of these things and checking that out. So cool. All right, and then so I suppose if we updated that, does, yeah, slightly changes when we update it. Cool. All right, so we've kind of got something that to work with. I'd love for these edges to line up, and then that way, once that's done, we can know to repeat it down. So I believe that is just a 9 knock-in margin, as these have a 9 padding, and then so now I'm just going to grab these, and then I can repeat them down. Cool. Secondary hex color. Let's see. And amazing, if you are hanging in, you clearly going to rock at all the UI layout stuff after this. So we're going to go secondary here, color code. Here we're going to say that this is input hex 2. And so we want, yep, so that copied along with it. That's cool. Secondary. Tertiary. And then that's it. That's it for this this area up here. We'd have to make some workflows happen here, which we'll do at the end of the video for anyone interested in following along for building out a whole page. But again, like one of the ideas behind this this build out in this video is just to allow folks to get an idea of what it takes to build a whole page over in Bubble and all the stuff that goes with it. Because let's see, tertiary. Is that how you do that? No. Perfect. And then so this one would be input 3. Two, 3. Oh, we did not get this auto bind tertiary. Secondary. All right, so let's give a preview here, and we'll be able to see a couple of different colors here set up for this, so someone can enter this in. And yeah, let's see what happens when we remove this. Okay, so it definitely kills it, but you know, it's kind of working. It's working pretty good, actually. And so what we'll do on this layout here, do we want to do something like this? I don't think so. I think we'll just call it good. Nice work. Pat yourself on the back. Huge. You know, take a break. In fact, I'm going to pause this video and do that as well. and then continue on, because after accomplishing something as big as we just did, we just nailed this whole row here with even an upgrade from what was originally given to us on this design here. So pat yourself on the back, take a break, or just keep on watching, and I'll see you in a second. All right, so back in the saddle. Thanks again for joining me on this. Let's take a look over what we've done, get that lovely sense of accomplishment from this. And of course, wouldn't you know it? Oh yeah, what happened? Okay, no, something got bumped. Yep, perfect. Okay, nothing we can't handle. So, we've got this nice looking thing here, and looks pretty great. We can download fonts. Let's go ahead and download this amazing font here, and download this. Then we'll work in a little bit on an upload. But for now, we've got this nice user interface based upon what we started with here, so we can feel pretty good about that. Now for this part down here, what I'm simply going to do is copy one of these things and then bring it on down here, and then also I'm just going to note to add the full boat of 10 around here, and then we're just going to take, let's see, probably one of these, and then we'll drop it in. Let's see, what is this thing, actually? It's a row. I'm just going to put it as a column, so that way I can just center this thing. And then, just for the purposes of like feeling some semblance of accomplishment, or whatever, we're just going to put this and say, coming soon. And this is the team. It's the crew. It's the squad. All right. So, so next up, I think I had said this to be 40. I'm just going to bump it up to 60 for the sake of working with it for now. So let's see, what we got here is something that is super repetitive. We have my links, and then it's just a bunch of inputs. And all of these inputs and all this stuff reminds me of this stuff here. And so I think this is going to be super easy. We're going to finish this off in no time, basically. What we're going to do is undo that so we can access this plus this. We're going to group these into a column container, and then that way we can just copy this. In fact, we're going to copy this and this, and then drop that in here. We do want to get that 10 padding around here as well. And so what do we got going here? Just preview that. Okay, so this is starting to look this needs the background style of a flat color. I think this one too. Yep. Okay, so we got a web link, Facebook, Instagram. And so now comes the real fun part, in case you were waiting for it. Web link, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Well, let's see. Looks like rather than put this 10 on here, I'm going to put this 10 on all of these, at the top of those. That way we'll just stay consistent across all this. And then the question is, Who's going to watch this on speed 1? Not me. No. So let's see. There's something we want to have here. Isn't that cool? It's not that though. That's not what we want. We want this globe simple. We're going to export that as an SVG. And then, let's see, background style, we'll just say, make it an image. And then we'll drop this here. Yeah, freaking great. Look at that. Yeah, that is really good actually. So I'm gonna get all of these images prepped because there's no need to see the export process again. Okay, and so one thing I do want to do is I want to rename these inputs. So I'm going to name this input web. I just want to keep these clean as I go through this. Probably just at the high level and the input. The rest of them can just be whatever. Let's see what we do here. So okay, so we're going image, image, and then I have some ones that are slightly different than this, just based upon what is already a known entity for this app. Let's see. Say we start with Facebook, and then Insta. Okay, cool. All right, so I think one more maybe. So we got Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Google. LinkedIn. I know there's a YouTube down here somewhere, but is it next? Yes, YouTube, Facebook ad ID, Google ad ID, TikTok ad ID. So it looks like two more of these. Got it, they're all plural. Cool. So amazing job to hang in and see this. So we're going to now just update, keeping things clean. Do these need to be brands? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's good if they're brands. So this parent group, that's how we're going to do that. Set that to a brand. That should solve a bunch of those issues. Or not. Let's see. We do want this auto bind thing over on our data area. You can just see I added in a few extra of these, so that way then in our design work here and on these fields we can, let's see, we'll want to say website, and then we'll want to say Facebook page, and then we'll want to say Instagram profile, LinkedIn page, I believe. Yeah, we'll just do these icons first before updating all of the other stuff there. Lots going on, lots of opportunities for efficiencies. I even realize this is the person making this. I don't necessarily always do this in the most efficient fashion, but with a lot going on and attempting to narrate and kind of plan ahead all at the same time, I think it can provide wonderful value that even these videos can just be hopefully a starting point for you, and then the people who watch them can take, the work that you do to the next level, and with obviously the intention to, over time, um, improve all of this together. But for here, this is what we got today. So, oh gosh, it's both of them, isn't it? Yep, top and bottom, top and bottom. LinkedIn, TikTok account. This one. But pretty amazing stuff for allowing, well, just a good old-fashioned software development, really, where it's built once and it's built to last. So we got the ad account and the ad account. Okay, and so one of the things I was doing, I actually paused it and I was looking through all of these to QA my work, and I found this thing. So this is always a good thing to notice so what I need to do here is just check an extra one of those, and then that thing will go away. So if you ever see that, but it is always good. I was pausing it just to go through this myself, but now I just showed kind of the tail end of that. It's always good to double check your work that each of these match up in the way that you expect them to. And then, yep, and I'm glad I'm QAing it because I'm even missing this stuff where, I mean, typically, so in this case, we're not doing any buttons or running any workflows on things, so I guess it's not super important for these. But it is a good best practice for inputs because a lot of times you're passing around data from them. Okay, cool. So let's check out a preview of this. And then it looks like, so this page happens to not have that. And we can see here that based upon what we started with, we've come a long way. We've added a way for someone to interact with this and set up the settings for their own brand and manage some things. We're going to wrap up by what it is to do once these logo upload buttons are hit. So let's dive into that. Okay, so the way I want to think about this for these upload buttons is that I'm actually going to have, so this upload logo, I'm going to have it pop up a pop-up logo, and then within this, what I'll do is I'll add a simple file uploader. So let's maybe make that here. And let's see if we can't get this Text centered vertically, that's perfect. Upload. Okay, so actually, let's see. I'm going to rename this one pop-up font. Upload. And then what I'm going to do is just copy this. I chose font because I actually have a, so here let's make this fixed width. Cool, dig it. So someone will upload something, and then what will happen is we'll get better naming on these. I'll actually pay that attention to these as well. Because when you do have things that, so this upload photo button, we're going to show this pop-up font. And then this is, just rename that so in the workflow area it can be easily seen. So what is this called? This is called file uploader font. So when this is clicked, I'm going to do something specific, make changes to a thing. I'm going to make changes to, for now anyways, this first brand. And then we are going to logo variations, add file uploader. Oh, it's not logo variations, is it? It's fonts. Okay, what we're actually going to do, we're going to change that brand, but first, let me take a extra step here and create a font. What we'll do is we'll set the brand as this, and we'll set the font file as the file uploader value, and then there's a name as well, and we'll just say file name. Call that good. Okay, so now we can just add the result of step 1 here. For this particular case, this is just for anyone that's curious about, I mean, the data setup for this one is just that font files are their own things that are tied to stuff, and so on and so forth. So, great, we're able to upload that. So a font will get added to this, and let's go check it out. So let's go to Roboto. We'll just download that, unzip it, and we'll upload a font. Do we have a regular? Yeah, that we do. Oh, you know what? Forgot to. So we can see it did upload there, so that's great. And then we can download it as well. Amazing. So this is super useful. Just forgot to add the hide button here for this pop-up. It is the end of the day and the end of the video. And yeah, actually going to call it there because, as you can imagine, you hung out for this one to basically see the UI get built for this screen. And all that would happen here is that, you know, for this, it's just getting things from logo variations. And so we would just go and just add this, just like this workflow with this button for this upload font. We create another pop-up, and then we would just make changes to the brand. And then for the logo, it's just as simple as that. So for anyone that is super curious and wants to see the whole deal, there it is. There it is, there it is, there it is, except for coming soon on this one. But amazing work. Hope you found it super helpful to see, especially in the weeds there as we were getting the rows and the columns set up and everything for the layout there at the beginning. I know that can be tricky, especially when you're first coming to Bubble and not really understanding how to get the layouts to behave exactly how you want them to. If you did find it helpful, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and thanks for watching.